Doomsday 3.
Yeah, we had Doomsday 1.
No question in my mind.
He came from one of the toughest areas of Phoenix, both in this country and of course
For safety and
got people on the defense talking about it. You better get your ass involved. You better get involved.
I just gotta say, when it comes to former Dallas,
Different.
for sure, and they would have thrown it off because
This guy gets off you.
Solid from and then I go to bed every night. G-Man, I promise you that. We got a special. What is up, Cowboys Nation? Your boy Mike Tag here. Good morning. Hanging out, on the patio. It's getting to be about that time. It's almost summertime, so might as well take advantage of the weather while we got it before it starts to rain. Hopefully, it don't rain while I'm on this show. But it was a beautiful day yesterday. Even better day today. So, hey, Frankie, what's up, man? We are getting this thing rolling. Appreciate you guys for hopping in the morning. It's morning time. I like to get up early, even though it's not that early now. It's about 9:30 my time, but definitely love to get up a little bit, talk some Cowboys. We got the schedule, obviously, that came out. We've been kind of talking about that a lot. So we got some things to dig into a little bit over the next few times. So on the plane to Greece. There you go, man. You enjoy yourself. I appreciate you popping in because we are worldwide. My man Frankie, he's going to be coming to the Cowboys Cave tailgate party week 3 against the Ravens. We are going to have a great time at AT&T. So if you guys don't have your tickets yet for the game or whatever you end up doing, if you're in the Dallas area, the Arlington area, and you're going to be hanging at AT&T, you need to come by. It's going to be a lot of fun. So make sure you guys do that. And before I get rolling again, always got to get the PSAs out. If you guys are hanging with us on YouTube, appreciate it. Make sure you hit that little thumbs up, hit that like. If you're not subscribed already, what the hell's wrong? Go ahead and hit that subscribe. If you're watching on X or you're watching on Instagram, you're watching on Facebook, the best way to support the channel is sliding on over to YouTube, hitting that subscribe and showing the support that way. That's the best thing you do for the channel. If not, it's cool. I just love hanging and talking with Cowboys Nation, so I got no problem either way. So anyway, let's get this thing rolling. Before we get to it, let me pop this thing up. Got to give some kudos to the Mavericks last night. I watched the game. I won my $50 back that I lost on that fight that we can get into with Tyson Fury. But they of course they always got to put this up, but it is a reality check. It is kind of embarrassing if you're a Cowboys fan and you really think about it, this is the last time a conference championship finals appearance or anything like that in the Dallas area. And you have the Cowboys at 10,352 days. Oh my God. That is just, it's eye-opening. It's eye-opening of man, I can't believe it has been that long. It's really crazy. So sometimes we gotta take the hate with it. Suzanne, good morning. What's up? And Steven, what's up, brother? And we got to see a few guys other in the chat. So definitely appreciate it. But how does that make you feel as a Cowboys fan? Because that's a punch in the gut when you really think about it. The Mavericks, obviously beautiful game last night. I'm not a Mavericks fan. I'm more of a Miami Heat fan, but I'm not a huge basketball fan, but grew up down in South Florida. So I like the Heat. Always supported them when I was there when they just got started. I was a kid, so I remember that, the old Ronnie Cycli days. But anyway, so beautiful game against OKC. They were getting worked, and they came back, ended up winning, in the last second with a free throw to kind of seal the game. Then obviously you got the Dallas Stars that are in the finals. The Rangers win the World Series. And now, you just kind of look at it, and it's been 10,352 days and counting since the Cowboys have been at least to a championship game. And I know, hey, I got to stay true to what I say is getting there is okay, but if you're not going to win it, why bother? I mean, I want to see a Super Bowl championship. I don't really care about, going to a conference championship and losing. That's not going to make me feel any better. But it's kind of making you think, like, what the hell is going on with this franchise that it really takes? I mean, you can luck your way. I mean, you look at some of those teams, over the past 15, 20 years. I mean, some of them have lucked their way into the conference championship. And the Cowboys they don't have that. Luck has never been on their side since I think Jerry signed that deal with the devil to get that one Super Bowl without Jimmy Johnson. Because when the Cowboys lose, man, do they lose, and they lose in heartbreaking fashion. It's not like a gutty performance. Oh, went back and forth and it just kind of broke your heart or whatever. They lose in the worst possible ways when it comes to playoff time. So something's got to change. It's going to be interesting to see how this season rolls, because there's a lot of hate to it. And we keep showing up to the games and getting the same results. You got to understand, we're fans. The game, and I've said this a million times, the games are fun. I'm a fan of the team. I'll always be a fan of the team. I grew up a Cowboys fan. As bad as it's been the last several, years as far as Super Bowl, they've been competitive for a very long time now. They just haven't been able to get over the hump. So the entertainment dollar's there, because I have a great time. I hang out with a lot of friends that I've made. I hang out with Cowboys Nation. It's a good experience. So I've got no problem going to the game and getting the same results. I mean, it is what it is. But like I said, eventually things will go their way. Eventually luck's got to go back on your side, and just got to catch breaks. It's hard. I mean, I saw a thing where they showed teams that haven't even won a Super Bowl. I mean, you're talking like 14 teams out of 32, something like that. I could be off a couple, but I mean, it's not easy. And you think about the Dallas Cowboys, you're going to take all that stuff away. I mean, the Niners haven't won one since 94. So yeah, they've been to some, but are you happy with going and losing? I mean, of course, yeah, you went, but you'd be happy with going and losing. The Eagles, it took them 52 years to get one. Winning a Super Bowl championship is very hard. I mean, that's why you look at what Brady, you look at Mahomes. I mean, for them to win as many as they have in this era of football, it's amazing. It's amazing with the free agency and everything that's going to limited practices, all the restrictions that go on these teams. It's hard to really get that camaraderie, and for them to do it, it's a testament to them as leaders and really the organization. So, I mean, it's from the top down. It's every way. And I know my man Ultra, I love you, Ultra, and I know Dak is the whipping boy of it, but it's more than Dak Prescott, man. I've said this ad nauseum, and I'll continue to say it. It is top down. It is defense, special teams, coaching, ownership, general manager. It's everything down. It's not, you can't put it on one player. You can't put not winning a Super Bowl on one player. Dan Marino didn't win a Super Bowl, but I guarantee you he's one of the best quarterbacks in NFL history. It's unfortunate you're going to get judged by your Super Bowls. That just comes with it. That is the nature of the beast. And as a quarterback, you're always going to get judged by that. But they get, as I've always said, they get a lion's share of the credit that they don't deserve, and they get a majority of the blame that they probably don't deserve either. So, I mean, it's easy to point at Dak, but I'd show you games where he played well and they lost. And I'll show you games where the defense played well and they lost. I mean, it goes hand in hand, but you gotta, yeah, of course. All right. So you named, that's the one playoff game that you could put 100% if you want to put something on Dak. But then I could flip it. And there was a play here or there. We didn't run the ball very well. You didn't do it. So you could throw it on some other things, but if you want to put it on Dak Prescott, that's one where you could say, yeah, the defense played well. I believe that was the game I was at with Garoppolo. So that was kind of a painful one because the defense played well. He turned the ball over. They almost gift wrapped the game to us, and that's it. So that's one. I mean, what happened to the Packers in 2016? Is that all on Dak Prescott? I mean, he got him down the field. He didn't give up a 3rd and 19. Is the one against the Rams on him? Is that going to be on Dak Prescott? We gave up about 400 yards rushing. I mean, is that on Dak Prescott? I mean, it's a team effort. It's a team effort. When the defense is down, the offense has got to step up. When the offense is starting slow, the defense has got to step up. That's kind of the way it works. You know, go back to the Super Bowl. I've said it a million times for those who are new to the channel. I mean, look at the Eagles, the Chiefs. The Chiefs were struggling on offense. San Francisco could never put them away because that defense held them. The defense kept it just close enough till the offense can kind of get rolling and the offense can get ahead. So to me, it's a mentality. It's a mentality of this team. It's a mentality of the team. It starts at the top, but it goes all the way down to the leadership. It is the dog mentality that these guys have got to have. And right now, if I'm being honest, they don't really have it. I mean, it's just not there. Now, maybe with this draft, maybe with some of the guys that they've got coming in, maybe you're going to see it. And that's all I can hope. That's all I can hope. Yeah, but he didn't make plays for 3 quarters. But what did the defense do? If they were 3 and out, Mahomes 3 and out, if the defense didn't hold them and they were down 35 points, then what are they going to do? So it's easy to say that. And Troy Aikman is one of my favorites, so I'm not dogging him. I got in a argument with some Giants fan that had the nerve to say that Troy Aikman was overrated. Anyone who's watched Troy Aikman play, anyone who's seen his career, not looking at the stat numbers, watching the games with your eyes and understanding what he dealt with that team, which was a circus, and Kevin Gogan was on, and he kind of echoed that. And, you know, to be a leader, to hold people accountable. You saw him on the sidelines, getting into the offensive line, getting into the receivers, getting into the coaches when it had to be. That's what I don't see on this team. Like, I see Dak Prescott, you know, looking at had that lost look on his face. He's looking up at the thing and he's looking at his old iPad. You know, I look back to that CeeDee Lamb when they started out slow. It wasn't Dak Prescott who went over to CeeDee Lamb. It was Coach McCarthy. It shouldn't be. I mean, the coaches need to hold each other accountable. That's what James Washington, when he was on our show, said. They held each other accountable. They didn't want to let their teammates down. I don't necessarily see that with this team in the recent, you know, I would say in recent decades of even before Dak Prescott. I'm going before him into the Romo days. That's been the problem. And until that changes, you know, we'll see. We'll see. And yeah, no, definitely, Frank. I think the offensive line, some people are you know, looking at as a negative, and I don't know, man. I'm feeling good about getting some fresh blood, young guys, and with that mentality that they both had. You can watch their tape. I mean, you know, I talked about this yesterday at a graduation party. You don't know what to expect from your rookies. I mean, the rookies can be, you know, your 5th round pick can be the stud, and your 1st round pick can be a bust. You just don't know until they get on the field. What I like from Guyton is he's already taken the steps to be a starter, to be a pro. He's doing a lot of work with a lot of, you know, the experts in the field. He's putting that time in. I think BB's doing the same. So I think the mentality is there for them to be successful. They do have some good mentors on that offensive line, obviously starting with Zach Martin, but you look at Tyler Smith, I mean, Pro Bowl, all pro, and he's just going into his 3rd year. So they definitely have some things. Never won a championship. Did Dak keep Green Bay competitive? He got back in there. You can say what you want. The defense gave up touchdown. Every time they got rolling in the second half, the defense gave up a touchdown. So if you're looking to put it on one dude, Ultra, you're at the wrong channel. You're talking to the wrong guy, because it's a team game. It's a team game, and the defense played like shit. And if you think they played good enough to win, and they would have won if we had Aikman in there, we wouldn't have won if we had Brady in there, we wouldn't have won if we had Mahomes in there, we wouldn't have won if I had Jesus in there. The defense sucked that day. That's a fact. And we can, you know, like my man Ric Flair said, you might not like it, but you got to learn to love it, because that is the fact. And I don't care who was at quarterback that Sunday or whatever, Saturday, whatever day the damn game was, and try and forget about it. There was no way in hell that team was winning. Couldn't do shit. So doesn't really matter. Can't stop nobody. I do think he threw the game. I do think I don't necessarily threw the game. It's more than a coincidence that Dan Quinn has never beaten one of the coaches that was on his staff in Atlanta. I think he's 0-6. It was the coach at the Rams, the coach at Miami, the coach at Green Bay. I think I might be missing one other one, but to me, there's something to be said for that. I wish they would have let him go right after the game. I mean, they could have let a lot of people go after the game. I would have been happy. But yeah, defense was absolutely more than terrible. They were shit. So yeah, definitely with the lines. And there is going to be some learning curve. So you're talking about looking at this schedule. If Guyton ends up being the starting left tackle to start the season, maybe they don't, maybe they do. We'll see what happens. I mean, going up against Myles Garrett is not going to be it's going to be baptism into the NFL. I think they're going to give him help. They're going to play conservative on that side, and they're going to kind of make sure he doesn't get Dak Prescott killed. But we'll see what happens. So anyway, let's Green Bay scored 7 on defense. Okay, so the defense gave up 40. All right, I'm sorry. You keep talking about the first quarter. That's all you've talked about. What about the second half when the defense, when the offense started rolling, when the Dolphins started rolling? And I love you, Ultra, but you got what we call selective memory and selective hearing, because you keep hearing never Dak's fault. But did anyone say it was never Dak? Anyone in the chat, let me know if you ever heard me say it's never Dak's fault, or did I say it's a team top down? I love you, Ultra. I know you know how to get me aggravated. That's why I love you so much. But you're talking out of your ass, my friend. You're talking out of your ass. You keep saying the same shit. So let's see here. Shanahan, no, that's it, man. And that's, and Zimmer's had some success against that tree, if you want to call it that. But I think what Zimmer is going to do is he's going to be on the field. I never like a defensive coordinator in the box. I just think they need to be on the field because they've got the pulse of the team. They could see if they're having trouble. They could talk to them face to face, man to man. They can make changes on the fly. What's working, what's not. Another example was, George Teague, when he was on our show, he played obviously for Zimmer in Dallas, and he was calling the defenses, and Zimmer would work with him. What do you like calling? What don't? What's this? What's that? And he would make changes. He would do stuff to fit what worked best for that defense and for the leaders on the team. So I think it's going to be a great addition. Now, is it going to be enough? You lost some players. You didn't really replace a whole lot. Do you have enough talent on this team today to be able to do it? Back end, I think we do. Linebackers, I believe it or not, I actually think we do. Up front in the trenches, I don't know. I'm not gonna say we do or don't. I just don't know. If Mozzie plays to a first round level, what could be expected as a first round pick this year, then maybe, but then you're gonna put some pressure on the rookie they drafted, number 94, to pick up the slack for Dorrance Armstrong. People can talk about Dorrance Armstrong. He did get 6.5, 7 sacks, whatever it was in limited play. Is Sam Williams going to pick it up? Now, Sam Williams was the same guy that was throwing a party before the Green Bay game, victory party scheduled. So that goes to the accountability. So yeah, that's Dak's fault too. He threw a party, so he was very focused on that game. But that's one of the things that it's a lot of hope, and I don't like a lot of hope. And then you flip to the other side, and I don't know what your guys' opinion is. There's a lot of hope on that running game. I like Zeke. I think Zeke can help this team. I think pass protection is going to be, obviously something that he can definitely help. And if you're starting a rookie left tackle, you better get someone else to help. I think short yardage, I think goal line inside the 5 where they struggle a little bit. I think that's where he could help. I don't know if he's the bell cow, right? I don't know if they're going to do running back by committee. I've never been a fan of running back by committee, but I'm old school. I like to have my lead dog, and I don't mind a sidekick, but I like to know who my lead dog is. I don't know if they have a lead dog on this team. Maybe it's Rico. I mean, we all wanted him to get more carries. Maybe it's Rico. So we'll see what happens. It's the ride, man. And sometimes I would say, the Cowboys being under the radar, no one's really going to talk about. Everyone's talking about them being, and we'll go through the schedule a little bit and get your guys' opinion on it, is maybe this is what they need. Maybe they need to be doubted. Maybe they need to be off the pedestal. I mean, they've won 12 games the last 3 years and really have nothing to show for it. Something's got to give. Something had to change. So that's the thing that you just got to kind of figure out is, all right, maybe it's addition by subtraction. I didn't have any issues with who left. I just more had an issue with they didn't pick up anyone. And yeah, I got my Ferguson jersey. I get my player. I do my old school player jersey. And I do a new guy jersey. And this year I just got it in the mail today. My Jake Ferguson came in the mail. So I'll be repping Jake Ferguson as my new school guy. And I got Kevin Gogan as my old school guy. Trying to get some mentality, some of that big, nasty mentality on this team, because that's what they need. They need some big, nasty mentality. So hopefully that'll pay some dividends and give some love. But, and again, we still have talent. You're talking about all pro at quarterback. You're talking, all pro at wide receiver. You got Ferguson, you talked about who could be a top 5 tight end, the way things are going. You've got 2 all pro offensive linemen. So, just on your offense, you've got 5 guys that were all pros. Potentially that 4th one or 5th one could be an all pro this year if he lives up to the hype and has that breakout season. A lot of us, kind of think he does. And then you flip to the defense. You still got an all-pro in Parsons. You still got an all-pro in Diggs coming back. I mean, Tank's he's a veteran. I mean, he's still got a little gas left in his tank, no pun intended. You got Kendricks, who is a solid linebacker, played, with Zimmer. You got Bland, who is an all-pro bowler. You expect, he'll continue to grow and continue to get better. So that's where you want to see some of this stuff happen. You want to see, it's always the middle guys. It's the role players that typically are the game changers. As great as Mahomes is, man, Pacheco was pretty nice. He was pretty important for him in the playoffs. That's where who is going to step up that you're not expecting to step up, that you don't need to step up. That's where I want to see what this happens. So it's going to be interesting to see how the season plays out, and just looking at the schedule. You open up at Cleveland. I don't know what you guys think about that. I look at the first 3 games. You take it into 3s, or if you really want to take it, we can take it into 4s. You're at Cleveland, you're at the Giants, and you've got the Saints and Ravens at home sandwiched in the middle of it. So, me personally, I think they split between the Browns and the Ravens. I think if they beat the Browns opening, I think they probably gonna, hey, take care, Frankie. Have a safe flight. Can't wait to see you down at AT&T. We're gonna be having a good time. But love you in Germany. We're worldwide. That's what we do. The Caves worldwide. Cowboys Nation's worldwide. But back to the back to the schedule. So if you're looking at the first 4, I mean, what would satisfy you coming out of that? 3-1, I think most of us would do backflips. 2-2, I think it would still leave a lot of questions for the Cowboys. There would be a lot of questions on the season, because the losses that you would assume that would happen would be the Browns and the Ravens, right? Those are the 2 best teams of the 4. I think the Saints, I mean, they should, if they lose to the Saints, God, geez, that would be, you might as well, you talk about throwing in the season, that would be heartbreaking. But I think if they split between the Ravens and Browns, that's a win. I mean, you're going 3-1 in the first 4. Then you look at your next 4, and you got your bye week sandwiched in between, going to Pittsburgh, at San Francisco, at Atlanta, Detroit at home. 3 of your 4, and you could say you got 4 road games in a row if you go backtrack, or no, you got 4 or 5 if you backtrack. So looking at that schedule, Steelers, Lions, San Francisco, I mean, again, if you went 3-1, you're going to do backflips. But if you go 2-2, I think you probably feel pretty good. If you went into that. So if you're looking at going through your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, your 8 games, you're potentially 5-3. 5-3, I think you'd be pretty pumped up if you're a Cowboys fan. 4-4, you'd be, And then if you go, less than that, I think there'll be a lot of concern. And yeah, definitely the playoffs is all it's gonna come down to the playoff success. I think a lot of people, we talked about it on our show, as you look at these games and just take that first half of the schedule, is there any game in there if they won that you would feel, all right, I'm back believing in this team? Or is it always going to be they can go 17-0 and it's always going to be, well, let's see what happens in the playoffs with the team? That's, to me, I think most fans are probably going to be that way. I think even the ones who are kind of the optimistic fans, in the back of your mind, it's always going to be, yeah, but, they beat the Ravens, but, yeah, they beat the Browns, but, yeah, they finally got over San Francisco, but, and I'm just giving hypotheticals. It's going to be interesting. Can't afford to watch TV games. Yeah, I mean, there's options. If you're on Twitter, DM me. I can give you some options that might help you as far as that. It's and DFW Sports, man. It is. We talked about it a little bit ago. In case if you didn't hop in, but I put this up if you missed it. I mean, how about that? As kind of a gut punch of time? If you're a DFW fan of all these teams, like I said, I'm not. So I'm not going to pretend I am a fan of these guys. I'm a fan of the Cowboys. The other ones I'm not really fans of, but for Cowboys Nation, I always hope they do well. I mean, as long as they're not up against any of my teams, I always hope they do well. But that right there is a gut punch when you really look at it. I mean, 10,352 days is, I would have never imagined it in my lifetime. Obviously we've been fortunate to have some players in here and talk to them about it. Most of them are like, I cannot believe that is the case. The teams that we've had, I mean, going back a couple of, some of those Romo years and some of the Dak years, we've had teams that were Super Bowl contenders. And it is just absolutely mind blowing that is actually the case, but it is what it is. It's the reality that we live in today. Can't cry about it. Can't look back. You can only look forward. So it's going to be interesting. But going back to the schedule. So this is way early. We're just talking shit. So if you're going through the first 8 games, you're thinking you're 5-3, 4-4. That's kind of where you're at. And then you look at the next 4 games and you're at, the Eagles are at home, which I think we'd end up splitting. You got Texans at home. That's going to be interesting to see. Can CJ Stroud play off the success he had? We've seen a lot of quarterbacks have that year 1 success, and then they kind of, the reality hit in, and they had a tough sophomore year, and they called the sophomore slump. Then you're at Washington, which is curious to see how they're going to turn out. And then you got the Giants again, which is basically going to be our homecoming game. So now looking at the 4, I'm thinking 3-1 is realistic in this, because like I said, I think they get Philly at home. I think even if they got the Texans at home, and let's say they stumbled on the road against Washington, they're going to beat the Giants on Thanksgiving. So that puts you to like an 8-4 or 8-5, 9-4 kind of year. Then you get to the last, 5 games, and you've got the Bengals at home, at the Panthers, Bucks at home, at Philly, and then of course Washington at home. And this is one where you could see them go 2-3. You could see them go 3-2. So it really is. It's really kind of up in the air there. I don't know if we're going to sweep the East. I'd love to be that calm. I mean, I want to win every game. Of course, I'm going to go into every game thinking we win, but I don't know if they're going to sweep the East. I mean, the Eagles are still one of those teams that's a pain in the ass to them. Washington's going to come down to their rookie quarterback. The Giants, I think, and I said it last year, and all you Giants fans, you should have heard me, because I said the Giants are frauds. I didn't think they'd be any good last year, and that proved out. Everyone had them. Oh, they're going to be this team to watch. Oh, they're going to be this team, to beat, because they had a little bit of a Cinderella year. It's not. And I still feel the same about the Giants. I just don't think their quarterback's that good. I don't think they've got the offense, and I don't know if they've got the total defense to be able to compete. So that's just my opinion. If you don't like it, who gives? I could care less. But I think Washington, if Daniels ends up being a decent quarterback, it just has to be decent. I think Washington can be formidable. So, if you're looking at that schedule, I'm thinking, Dallas 11, 10, 11 wins, I think is going to be a good season with their schedule. Is it going to be enough to win the East? I mean, it'll be interesting to see how Philly does. I mean, that's going to be the one. But I think if they get to 11 wins, I think they will. I think they'll win the division. I think 11 wins the division with that schedule. And I could say this: if they had 10 or 11 wins, I think that's a good point. I didn't think about that, Steven. Excellent point. Maybe I forgot. I did forget that. I'm glad you reminded me. They do have Kellen Moore. He's due to screw up some games. So I do apologize. I think maybe we do sweep the Eagles. That'd be even better. Then we go up to 12 wins. But all kidding aside, I think the Eagles, they're going to be all right. I mean, they're a solid team, and it's a rival. So like with your rivals, sometimes things happen. It's an emotional game. So sometimes we were the Redskins back in the day. And Dallas was the biggest rival. And I mean, and the Redskins, we won one game in 89. And it was against the Redskins. And there was years there. I mean, even 90 before we even got going. I think it was Thanksgiving we beat them. I think we always would beat the Redskins every single year, no matter how good they were and how bad they'd be. 10-7, I'd be fine with it. I mean, obviously, I want to be 17-0, but the team's going to be in the playoffs. This team is going to be, barring just an absolute catastrophic injury, this team is going to be in the playoffs. There is enough talent on this team. You have 7 teams that make the playoffs. You can't show me 7 teams that are better than Dallas. So I think they're going to be in the playoffs, and whether it be a 10-7, 11-6, ultra 9-8, I think I don't see 8 losses on their schedule if all teams are healthy. Now, of course, it's not who you play. Not only that, it's when you play them. How healthy are you when they play them, and how healthy are they when you play them? You take the Browns. I mean, they should have Chubb, right? He had that injury, early on. They got Deshaun Watson. They're going to have him back, but he was injured. So you're playing them the first week of the season. I'd rather play the Browns first week than the 8th or 9th week. You look at the Ravens. The Ravens, I mean, they're going to be fully healthy with a Derrick Henry. They're probably a team that you probably would want to play a little later in the year to see if, Henry got hurt or the injuries pile up or this or that. So there's a lot of question on that, just same thing with us. I mean, if we got, God forbid, had a, key injury, it's who you playing, it's who you playing. Yeah, that was cool, man. I still got the ticket stub. One day I'm going to meet Jimmy Johnson and get it signed. That was his first win as a Dallas Cowboys coach, first win in the NFL. It was, I still remember it. I was a young kid, but I still remember it. And I didn't think we'd win a game. I was like, man, we ain't going to win no games this year. And it was Paul Palmer. Steve Walsh was our quarterback. Remember, Aikman was kind of hurt, and it was just one of those games, man. It was one of those games where everything seemed to go right for the Cowboys, but it was a rivalry game. And you're talking about, Washington. They were Super Bowl champion. They were the Chiefs of this era, for those couple years. So, to beat them, it just shows that, in football, any given day, any team can win. I mean, that's why I say is, I know a lot of the playoff, it sucks. But I mean, it's one game. Like we look at basketball and you look at, best of 7. Typically you're going to get the best team. The better team is usually going to win because you're playing 7 times. I mean, very rarely are you going to get a Cinderella team that does it. It happens, but very rarely. Usually the best team wins because you're at 7 games. Football is different. Football is one game. You're having an off day, a team's having a great day, and it's over. And there is no tomorrow, as Apollo Creed told Rocky. There is no tomorrow. That's what's so cool about football, is a finality of when you get in the playoffs. You just got to be better that day. I mean, I would I would argue that, trying to think of what the upset was, even the Packers. If we played the Packers 10 times, we probably beat them 8 times. But it was at one time, and they were rolling. We were out of sync, and they beat us. Beat us fair and square, dominated, no excuses. I mean, that's just kind of the way it goes. The Eagles and the Buccaneers. I mean, the Eagles were just kind of, they were in a bad rut. But you took that team and you take that team talent wise. You play 10 times, the Eagles are going to beat them more often than not. But it's just being better that day, and that's where the Cowboys, the mentality has to be. That's where I said the mentality of this team. Football is a very mental game. It's, everyone's got to be on point. One cog out of sync, and it can ruin the whole thing. And that's where, again, a lot of people like to point to the coaches. A lot of people, like to point to a single player, but it is a team game, and it is everything. You see interceptions, and again, I'm not breaking down the film. I'm not seeing what it is. I'm not in their locker room, but the quarterback's always going to get the blame. But sometimes it's the receiver. Sometimes either the receiver didn't run the right route, see receiver did it. There could be so many different things. And so it's just there's so much to football. It makes it so hard. It is hard to win a Super Bowl. That's when you see these teams with these dynasties. That's why I was telling in some of the interviews when I talked to some of these guys from the 90s teams, I didn't appreciate it enough. I didn't appreciate those years enough. And the crazy thing is, it seemed like it lasted forever, but it was really only 5 years. I mean, you could say 6 years, if you want to stretch it, you could probably say 7 years, but I'm talking about just dominance. I would go 91, 92, 93, 94, 95. I mean, you could throw in 96 if you want to, but that was kind of like, that's when it all went south. That's when it was our last playoff run. But I mean, it was really those 5 years, stretch it out to 6. And it seemed like forever, but man, it went by, looking back, it was so fast. What's up, EJ? Appreciate you hopping in. Yeah. And I hear this every year with Micah, man. And I love Micah. Defensive player, he always starts fast, never finishes strong. I don't know if he gets worn down. I don't really know what it is. He's one of our best players, but he's one of those guys that we need down the stretch. We need in the playoffs. We need him to be a force. We need him to be a vocal leader on this defense. Now, maybe he is. Again, I'm not in the locker rooms. How do I know? I can only see on the sidelines, and it just doesn't seem like we have those guys. We don't have those guys that you see on some other teams. And it's not necessarily the best player on the team has to be the vocal leader. I mean, you look at the Cowboys teams. I mean, Ken Norton Jr. was a vocal, leader on that team, and he wasn't, the best player on the team. He was, and then you had a guy like Tony Tolbert, who was just a quiet guy. He a lot of people don't even know Tony Tolbert. They don't remember Tony Tolbert, but he was one of the most consistent pass rushers on the team. He led the team. I would bet without looking, he was a team leader in sacks most of those years in the 90s. More than a lot of people would look at Charles Haley and say he was. More than Charles Haley. Someone will prove me wrong, but I'm just going off my memory. But Tony Tolbert was just kind of like that quiet guy. He was just, but he wasn't a vocal guy. So it doesn't have to be one of your best players. It can be, one of your, that second tier, which is a solid player, could be a Pro Bowl player, whatever, but just not your, not your all pro like a Micah Parsons. There's got to be someone in there. And, a guy that it's going to be strange for me to say, because again, it's a lot of hope there, but I see a guy like Overshown. I see a guy like that can be a vocal leader. Just watching, some of his college stuff more that I didn't see, and then early on in preseason practices and things like that. I could be dead wrong, but he's a guy that you could see at the linebacker position all around him. If he comes back, he could be a guy that you see take that vocal leadership, role on the field. I mean, you never know. I mean, everyone always thinks it's got to be Micah Parsons. It doesn't necessarily have to be. So it's going to be, Diggs is a guy that, I think he's shown some leadership, and maybe that's something they missed, when he got hurt. Maybe he was one of those guys that, they did well without him, and that's the thing that you're going to see with I don't want to say Mozzie's a bust. I don't want to say Mozzie's a bust. I think Mozzie, Ultra called him a bust. I think Mozzie can be improved. He's not going to be a big stat guy with sacks and things like that. I think Sam Williams, I said it last year, he's going to be a breakout player. He was my most disappointing player. And then, like I said, with the shit that happened in the playoffs with the nightclub, I could do without that. But Mozzie is not going to be in a position. I don't want him in the position to be a pass rusher. I need him to hold the line and stop the run. And it's not going to put up big numbers. It's not going to put up big sack numbers. You look at Russell Maryland's career, and some people can say Russell Maryland was a bust. No, he wasn't. I mean, he didn't have the big sack numbers, but that wasn't his job. That wasn't his role. That wasn't what he did. He was a stout defensive tackle. They always played well against the run. He never put up big sacks. That just wasn't his gig. It's to eat up blockers and let the other ones feast. I mean, that's what his job was, and I think that's what you can see Mozzie's job going to be, something similar to that. So it may not show up in the stat book. That's why I'm not a stat guy, because if you sit there and you talk about stats, then you could say that Troy Aikman's not a Hall of Famer. You could say that if you looked at Michael Irvin's numbers compared to today's game, is a different era. You could say, well, geez, I can't believe he was a Hall of Famer, because he was another guy that just he was great in time, but the 89 season, he was hurt. 90, he was hurt. I mean, his breakout was 91, went from like 91, 97, somewhere in there. But you look with your eyes. That's why, like, to me, Darren Woodson, the knock on Darren Woodson is he didn't have enough, what they say is he didn't have enough interceptions. That's why he's had trouble getting in the Hall of Fame. He doesn't have enough interceptions compared to the other safeties that are in there. But what Darren Woodson did was he changed that position. I mean, when he was in there, he was the nickel cornerback. He was guarding Jerry Rice in the slot. I mean, he was guarding tight end. He did everything. And he was also just a hard hitter. He was a tackling machine. He was a leader of the team. That was another guy I forgot. I mean, a leader of a team. That's another one. But so you got to look at the whole picture. You got to look at the whole picture of it. Because again, you look at numbers. You say, well, Eli Manning, is he a Hall of Famer? I mean, he was 500 as a quarterback, threw more interceptions than touchdowns, more than likely. I'm just going off what I believe. He won 2 Super Bowls, and so people are going to say, well, he deserves to be in for 2 Super Bowls. Well, then where's Jim Plunkett? Why isn't Jim Plunkett in the Hall of Fame? He's got 2 Super Bowls. I mean, why isn't he in the Hall of Fame? So you can, you can look at a lot of different things. I don't think Eli Manning's a Hall of Famer. I think he's going to get in. I think because his last name's Manning, and I think he beat Brady twice. But did he beat Brady twice or the defense? That goes back to what I was saying. Too much credit goes to the quarterback. Their defense was ferocious. Their defense was stout. Their defense held that offense of New England to nothing. So, it's just one of those things. But it is what it is. That's why I'm not going to get all worked up about it. It's going to be fun seeing a rangy safety with ball skills with Zimmer. But the thing I said is I don't know if I said it, but I was going to say it is don't expect all those turnovers. I don't think you're definitely not going to see the Cowboys, in my opinion, leading the NFL in turnovers. I don't think that's a bad thing. I mean, we love turnovers, but sometimes a lot of turnovers can equal big plays too. I think what Zimmer does, he runs a stout defense, hard hitting, discipline, may not be a lot of risk taken, but we'll see what happens. But I don't know if they're gonna. I'll be surprised if they change, if they get a lot of turnover. I mean, they'd be middle of the pack. They could be upper middle, but I don't think it's going to be. Let's see. I'm excited to see Trayvon Diggs back and Overshown. I want to see how their young offensive line grow. This is from Chris and Cooper Beebe, Tyler. Yeah, I thought the offense wasn't as bad as what people said in the draft going into it. I liked Bass. I liked Hoffman. I know we needed depth. So I wasn't as panicked about the offensive line as others. Now, they got Guyton, they got BB, and it seems like those are some solid picks, and I'll never question the Cowboys when they draft offensive linemen in the first round. The trick is with Diggs, can he come back? That's going to be critical. Can he come back? And is Overshown going to be the guy that you believe? Because we've seen this story before. I'm not being negative on it, but we've seen the Jabril Cox that everyone was excited about, got an injury, and he kind of fell out of favor. So that's the part you just don't know. Now, everything I've seen with Overshown, I think he could be one of those dynamic guys on this team. I think he could be a lightning rod. I think he could be one of those leaders. He could be a vocal leader. I think he could be someone, a motivational guy. I think he's one of those guys going to be. Diggs, coming back from that injury, it's all mental for him, right? He's going to be fine. The knee is going to be fine. It's mentally. That's what a lot of these players have to, get over, that mental hurdle. Now, I think he's mentally tough. He's a cornerback. Cornerback's probably the most mentally tough position in the NFL, because you could shut a guy down for the whole game, and then next thing you know, you give up a big touchdown pass, and you look to as the guy who blew the game. So anyway, so let's see what happens. And again, this is again, he beat the GOAT twice. I didn't know Eli played defense. I didn't know he played defense. I didn't know he was on the defense. I think the defense beat Brady twice. But again, quarterback gets too much credit. They get too much blame. But it is what it is. If Eli got in, I could give a shit. But like I said, Jim Plunkett is a 2-time Super Bowl champion. So if Eli's in the Hall of Fame, throw Jim Plunkett in there too, and let's be done with it. So we'll see what happens. And hope the young guys, I missed it. I'm sorry. Hope the young guys get a chance to prove themselves. I think they will. I think you're going to see them get definitely some reps. You only got 3 preseason games. So, they definitely will get some work. And I think the one bad thing with the NFL now, especially, I don't want to be like a boomer, but going back, is they don't have a lot of time, like that practice time, the hitting time, the two-a-days and all that kind of stuff that they used to have back in the day to get conditioned. I think I hate to say it, I think that's why sometimes you got a lot more injuries than you think of, because you were conditioned to take hits. You were conditioned to play. Everything was there. And maybe I'm wrong, but that's just my old school mentality. I just think the practices, what do they have, like 7 padded practices? It's insane. The amount of not the amount, but the lack of real practicing that these teams have. Everything's in shorts and shirts and it's crazy. It's crazy. But he made one throw in the Super Bowl. And Manningham made one hell of a catch. Great throw, 100%, great catch. So I guess that was a great throw by Eli on the helmet catch to Tyree. That was a great, give me a fucking break. Jesus God, you just don't let it go. You just don't let it go. Mike, who do you see at quarterback, let's say 1 to 2 years for the Cowboys? I think it's going to be Dak. I think they're going to sign. I think they're going to extend him. If not, maybe they're going to give Trey Lance a real hard looking preseason. And I think if Trey Lance shows them what he's, capable of being a top 3 pick, they could roll the dice, let Dak play out the last year and let it roll. Now they're going to have to sign Trey Lance. And if Trey Lance has a really strong preseason, his price tag will go up. There's no doubt about it. He will be cheaper than Dak. But like I said, people get so caught up in what quarterbacks are making, man. It is business. Goff is the highest. Think about it. Goff is the highest paid quarterback, right? By salary. Mahomes is top 5. Dak is in the bottom 10, like top 10, but like 8, 9, 10, whatever it is. So if Dak resigns with us or someone else, he's going to go up to the top, and then the next guy's going to go to the top. And then the next guy's, I don't worry about their salary. And the salary cap is bullshit. I mean, because look at what these teams have done. You can manipulate the cap. You can move the cap around. They could have freed up money. So I think, 80%. I think he will. I mean, they're going to take a long, hard look at Trey Lance. And if they like what they see, and again, at the end of the season, I said, if you want to move on from Dak, move on from Dak. I don't care. Like I said, I'm a fan of the star. I'm a fan of the Cowboys. Whatever they feel that they can do to win, that's all I care about. I mean, I was a huge advocate when Tom Brady was leaving New England. I was screaming to the mountaintops, go get him. Go get him. Because it was kind of like Dak was being franchised. You could have just because I knew Tom Brady was going to win a Super Bowl. There was no doubt in my mind he was going to win a Super Bowl with the team he went to. And I would have loved it. I would have done it in 2 seconds. I would have let him go and done. So I'm not a Dak. I guess if you say one nice thing about a player, you become a lover of theirs. But I would have done that in a heartbeat. And if they would have moved on from Dak in the offseason, I would have been fine with that too. I need return. I need a return. I need to get something in return. I can't believe that you would let a guy walk with nothing in return. That's the part that I don't think the Cowboys are going to do that. But that's the part that is like would puzzle the shit out of me. Is how the hell would you do that? What's up, Michael, man? Appreciate you stopping by. To me, the Giants won the Super Bowl on those 2 runs in the Super Bowl because of those Giants defense. They did. I mean, they came into Dallas and they stifled our offense. I mean, really. I mean, Patrick Creighton dropped that beautiful throw. Maybe things would have been different, but the Packers or the Giants were 9-7. They went into Green Bay and won. And that's what I'm saying is it's you've got to have things rolling your way. They got hot they got hot at the right time. And I did not want to play them in that divisional round because I just said they're just kind of out of they're trouble. They're going to be trouble, and they're a divisional opponent, which makes it more trouble. And we needed to have that killer mentality, and we didn't. And again, that's what I think is missing from this team is, Brady has that killer mentality. Mahomes, all these, the great players just have that. And I just don't see it with this team. And that's what I really, so, but anyway, hate putting your quarterback in a corner, especially against team against Cleveland that has a legit defense. No, I agree. I think they need to, do that. It's not going to be cold. It's going to be hot. It's going to be hot. If you're talking about the Cowboy one. But anyway, dude, do your research. You're a moron. I mean, you're an absolute moron, Ultra. Why don't you go back and listen to what I said? Why don't you go back? I said the helmet catch was the previous one, you meathead. God, drive me nuts. I just had to put that on there because he's an idiot. I love you, Ultra, but you don't listen too good. I love you, but you don't listen too good. You need to clean out the ears and listen to what I said. So anyway, thank you, EJ, for correcting it. Sometimes people don't, they hear. See, Ultra is one of those guys that they hear what they want to hear. It's why he says, and I'm sure you've seen it, EJ, is like if you say one positive thing but 8 negative things or critical, I'm not gonna say negative, but critical things about a player. If he hates that player so much, you love him. Because I've said, I don't know how many positive things I've said about Dak, but I've said more critical than I have positive. But he hangs on that one. And that's the mentality of some. I can be critical and I can be positive. I'm not going to be critical of Dak every play because he does a lot of things that are very good. He makes a lot of really good throws. He makes a lot of questionable decisions too sometimes. That makes you puzzle. So it goes hand in hand. But yeah, anyway, need to get off to a fast start in Cleveland. Do you think we can get off to a fast start in Cleveland? That's a good question. The thing that worries me about getting off to a fast start in Cleveland is, and Ultra, why don't you be a man and apologize when you find out that's exactly what I said? But anyway, Chris, why don't you, what worries me is the running game. What worries me is our ability to run the ball, and Cleveland's got a stout defense. I think our defense will be able to do our job against them. I got no problem with that. I think our defense will do our job against them. It's will our offense, typically your offense isn't as in rhythm, starting the season, especially to what EJ said, the limited reps they get in preseason. Most of these guys don't even see the field in preseason. The good thing is this is a second year under McCarthy's offense. So I think that that's going to definitely be better. You saw the offense get better and better and better. They started slow that first, part of the season last year, and then they got better. So I think that will be a plus. Really, for the most part, your team is back. There's really not a ton of new pieces. A lot of us aren't happy about that, but there's not a ton of new pieces. So there's going to be hopefully some continuity with them, with the players that they got around them. But, and then you flip it to the Brown side. I mean, you look at, Deshaun Watson has been an absolute, I hate to say bust, but he's just been non-existent for Cleveland. Chubb's coming off an injury. They picked up a couple guys. Obviously Cooper's there. It's going to be a fun matchup, with him lining up against Diggs and Bland, and it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. First games are always the trickiest, man. You can end up with some funky upset. You can pull one out. On the road, if you can steal one, this is one that would be really nice for them to steal on the road. It's hard to win road games for the most part. It's a non-common opponent, which I think if you look at history, and someone will correct me if I'm wrong, I think Dak and I think McCarthy struggle against what they call non-common opponents, the guys that aren't in your conference, the guys, those out-of-conference games. I think they struggle. And so that's a part that has me a little concerned. So I think it's going to be one of those ugly kind of games, and I think we're going to leave. If we leave with a win, we're going to be like, it's not going to be dominating. I think if we lose, it's going to be a close, kind of like ugly game. You're going to be like, God, this offense, they're just not doing shit. And, so I think that's going to be the interesting thing. I like our defense against their offense minus their rushing attack. Yeah, that's going to be the question is Chubb, I don't know. Their running game, it's going to be interesting if how they do it. But anyway, turnovers. Yep, turnovers are they're the devil to most. So protecting the ball is going to be critical. I want to see how we run. I think they're going to be able to move the ball on us running. I just think that there's going to be a little bit of a learning curve again with Zimmer. That's the part that could be the defense, which usually sometimes starts fast, could be a flip side for us because he is installing a new defense. They don't get the type of practice that you did in the past. So there's going to be a little bit of a learning curve there. We've got some, not new pieces, but new pieces that we're counting on that, were the third string, then now are the second string up to the first string, plus, some guys coming off injuries. So it's going to be interesting. And yeah, I just wonder how Chubb's going to be. I mean, it's going to be 35-10, man. I love you, Steve. I hope you're right. I don't see that, but I'm going to mark that. And if you nail that one, then I'm going to be asking you about a few more games, because if they beat Cleveland 35-10 on the road, I would be absolutely floored. It would be amazing. But again, hey man, appreciate 185, 187. We're going up to 200 people hanging in the cave. Again, we got a lot of people on Twitter, got a lot of people on Instagram. If you're watching over there, slide over to YouTube, hit that subscribe, hit the like, hit that little thumbs up, hit the alert bell, because we go live, on a moment's notice. We drop some videos. Sometimes if I'm feeling itchy in the morning, I drop a quick video or something like that. So make sure you guys do that, and always hit that, hit that subscribe, hit the like, share. I'll say it one more time. It doesn't cost you anything. It just helps out the channel, helps out the algorithm and all that kind of stuff. And, we want to grow this channel, and it's really all about the fans. It's Cowboys Nation. That's what that's what this is about. I wanted to do this. Obviously, you're going to bring the hype, and it's going to be good. You're going to be in for some good, I'm going to motivate you. You guys that are feeling down, you're going to be motivated. Your boy's going to motivate you. So don't worry about that. I'm going to get you feeling good. But started this channel really just to interact with some fans, man. get to hang out with so many great fans at the game. It's like, dude, I can't see you guys one day a week, or 9 times out of the year, 8 times out of the year, 5 times. We got to be able to hang more often. So that's why we started this channel. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, Michael, I'm excited. Michael says he's excited to see if Zimmer's defense is even better than Dan Quinn's defense. What do you think will be the biggest difference? I think physicality. I think obviously the run defense. I think you're going to see a big difference. I think you're not going to see as many turnovers. I said that earlier. I think Quinn took a lot of chances, did a lot of risk. I think Zimmer's a little old school mentality. They're going to hit you hard. They're going to let you know they're there. They're going to play. I don't think they take as many chances. So I think that's the difference you're going to see. But accountability and physicality is what you're going to see. Mike Zimmer is going to be on that sideline. He's going to get in people's faces. He is going to be he's a coach. He's a teacher. And I'm not knocking Quinn in any way. But it's just a philosophy difference. I'm one of those guys. Yeah, we could do a party at Tag's house. We could definitely. The pool is getting up to temperature. I got the little over there. You see, you got some floaties over there for you guys. We're gonna have a Super Bowl party. How about that? We do a Super Bowl party in the cave. So, well, that'll be fun. So, but yeah, I think that's what you're gonna see with Zimmer. Does he have the personnel to do everything that I think he can do? That's the question. It's not necessarily, the biggest concern I have is that line, the defensive line. The game's won in the trenches, and I don't know if we've got all the horses to be able to do it. So that's the part that I don't know. So what I like about Zeke, he's a good blocking back. I said that earlier. I think that's going to be the one thing they're going to love the most, because if you're starting a left tackle who's a rookie, and you're going to have a rookie center, and you're going to have Steele coming off an injury, they better be damn careful of their quarterback. Don't get killed. So having Zeke back there in pass protection, I think is a huge, huge advantage, and a big piece for us. Yeah, I love that too, EJ, man. I don't know how I could see offensive coordinators, because they want to be, it's not as a emotional game on the offense. At least that's just my opinion. You guys can say I'm wrong, but so you could be up in the booth. That way you got a clear mind. The quarterback's not in your ear saying this. I mean, you can call him when you want, or the running back or the receiver, give me the damn ball, all that kind of stuff that goes with it sometimes. You can think clearly, and you can really see the field. I think defense is just so emotional, and it's just, you need to get in someone's ass if they're not feeling it. And you need to talk and coach a guy up if he gives up a big play. And I know they have the position coaches there, but Zimmer, if you see him, I mean, he is a teacher. He is a coach. A lot of people say, oh, well, he's too hard, or he's negative, and he yells and screams. But I mean, you go back, when I go back to that press conference, there was Xavier Rhodes, there was a few other guys that used to play for him that called him and just was like, thank you for what you did for my career and help it. Not even in my career on the field, but off the field. He cares for his players, but he holds them accountable. And I know a lot of people talk about the generation today, and they all want participation medals, and they all want to be loved, and they all want to be told how good they are, even though they're not. I think great athletes, great competitors, forget even sports, but in life or working, you want to be pushed. You want to be held accountable. You want to be told, you want to be called out when you're not doing right? You want that tough coaching. If you're a competitor that wants to be a Hall of Famer, wants to be a Pro Bowl, wants to be an All-Pro, you want that. If you want to be great in business, you want to be great at your job, you need that. I don't want someone telling me how great I am and I'm sucking. I mean, well, I want them to tell me, hey, dude, you ain't living up to the hype. You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. You're not delivering what we are compensating you for. You need to get your shit together. I got no problem with that. I really don't. I'd rather hear the truth than hear a bunch of BS. So I'll see you week 3. Yes, week 3, we got the Cowboys Cave tailgate party. So again, if you guys are going to AT&T, we have our tailgate party. We basically set it up. We got Cuts by Jones is going to be on the pit. Maybe Doug's going to be on the pit. I got to find out from Doug if he's going to be cooking too. I don't know. No, but we have a great time, and we grab some beer, we grab some drinks. If you guys grab anything, it's great. We also take donations, so we'll buy the liquor, we'll buy all that stuff too. Everything from the YouTube channel, that anything that we get from a monetary standpoint, it's all in an account, and that's going to be used to help fund the event, whether it be, we got to buy parking passes to get in lot 10. We obviously got to get the food. Mark's been so kind to hold up my tent, hold the coolers, hold all that kind of stuff. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So as it gets closer, we'll kind of put it out there and let you know, hey, you want to donate $10 if you're going to cover the food and some drink, that's fine. If you don't want to donate anything, I mean, I'm not going to, you're not going to be not invited for not doing it. It's just one of those things is you're going to have a good time. It's going to be cheaper than going in the Miller Lite House, and you're going to be hanging with all Cowboy fans. And even we've had fans of the other team. We welcome, if there's some Raven fans that you guys know that you're going to the game with, bring them. I mean, I welcome them too, man. As long as we're having good fun. I love some trash talking, as long as it's a good nature. Doesn't have to be violent. Doesn't have to be, talking about your mama and your kids and your wife and anything like that. It's just some good, smack talking. It's fun, man. That's why I love going to the games, man. Don't take anything personal, but it's going to be a good time. So I will definitely let you guys know as it gets closer. Kelly, so make sure you're following us on Twitter and social media platforms, because it's going to be a good time. There you go. Doug is confirmed. Now I can tell you, I'm sure Doug, I'm hoping we're in on the Carolina game. I'm planning on going. I went with Doug, and he led the tailgate, and he was cooking up. It was a 1:00 game, so we had breakfast. And you want to talk about the best breakfast I ever had? That man right there, Doug, was 5-star service, and we had a awesome time. We learned some things. Probably got to get up earlier. We slept in a little bit, so get into some other spots at tailgate. And where we were, there was no bathrooms. It doesn't make for a good tailgate, and you got to walk a while to go to the bathroom. But it was a great time. We had an awesome time, and again, met so many cool Cowboy fans that came over to the tailgate. So we gonna be there. It is. It's locked in, guys. Lock it in. So this is what we got. The official Cowboys Cave tailgate party is week 3. Then we got Atlanta. We got Atlanta Roadshow, which I'm sure Doug's going to that one too. So we're going to have a little get together there. I mean, I don't know how crazy the tailgate will be, because I don't know. All of us are kind of coming from different sites. No one's home, so I don't know what kind of grill or anything we're able to bring. But we're going to get together in Atlanta, and then maybe we could find some local ATL guys that can help bring a pit for us, so we can have some tailgate food and this and that. And then Carolina. So we're gonna have 2 road games that we're gonna have some fun, and then obviously Carolina. But I'll be at let me pull that bad boy up. And then let me know if you guys are gonna be there. I saw some in the comments. So let's see. EJ, haven't decided which game I'm going to. I'm hoping to hit. Well, hopefully one of you decide is the Ravens game. That would be nice. Because we'd love to have you back at the tailgate. Yeah, we'll get Mark Holmes. We'll be talking to him. So we're gonna get the crew out there. I know CFO. I know Rome's out there in Carolina. So I think he's gonna be out there. I think even I don't know if Tuck's doing any road games. Tuck. I don't know. Tuck. I got to figure it. I got to call him, because I don't know where. I don't know if he's in on the Cowboy tailgating, or if he's he was leading the pack, in the Des Bryant tailgate. So I'm hoping that he's still there, man. He's selling. I don't want him selling all his tickets, but yeah, it'd be great to get Mark Holmes. I think he's going to be out there. It's going to be. We got and then Game Time Brian. I think he talked about maybe going out there in primetime Phil. So we could have a awesome time. So looking at the schedule for me is obviously week 3, week 6 with the Lions. That's up in the air. Obviously week 9, week 10. I'm kind of up in the air on that one. Only because week 9, I'm going to be at the Atlanta game. So that might be the first Eagle game I miss. I sure would hate to do that. But I'm going, the problem is I'm going week 11. I'm going to the Texans with my son. So I might miss the Eagles game. So I guess I'm gonna have to sell my Eagle tickets. So if anyone's going to the Eagle game doesn't have tickets, let me know. They're club seats, so they're not cheap, but I would sell them to you, not at a elevated price that SeatGeek or whatever them do. I definitely give you a fair deal on some club seats. And then you've got the Giants Thanksgiving. I think I'm going to that one. I think my son and I are going to go because my wife and daughter are actually going to be in New York. And then, yeah, EJ, if you're, I'd love to see you go to the problem with the Saints. It's a home opener, but it's 12 o'clock. So the only reason I'd go is if I do a Doug and fly in and fly out. So think about that, but hopefully you can make that. Hopefully you make that. And then let's see, we've got the Bengals. I don't think I'm going to that one because I'll be I'm going to the Panthers that next week. See, these road games kind of ruining me. But the Buccaneers I'll be at week 16, and then week 18 is I'll be holding the tickets and waiting to see. Yeah. Oh, we'll definitely be down to Miami. I'm gonna hit a Miami game, probably Florida State, maybe another one. We had all plans. We're bringing a whole crew to go up to Gainesville. But they made that a 3:30 game, and your boy at 3:30 in that swamp. It's literally a swamp because there is no air in Gainesville. It's not by no water or nothing. I don't think my body can take that, especially paying the secondary market prices that they're gonna have. So it'll be interesting. But yeah, so I might have it. I would say if you guys are interested, you can DM me on Twitter. And like I said, I hate to offend anybody, but I'm just going to be real with you and go on StubHub. I sit in seat section 233, and I'm not charging StubHub prices. I promise you that. But face value on those tickets aren't cheap. So when I tell you the price, just remember, I also pay a seat license, and then the club seats aren't cheap. So, but it'd be cheaper. It's almost equivalent if you were going to buy regular seats and probably like a 300 level or something like that after you pay all the fees and stuff. So if you are serious and you're interested in any game, just let me know, and I'm happy to let you know. Some stuff, I haven't put any of my tickets up for sale because I'm one of these, I like to think about it. So I don't want to put knee jerk and say, hey, I'm not going to this, I'm not going to that, or I'm going to this, I'm going to that. The only ones I do know is the Ravens, the Giants, and the Buccaneers are locked in 100% because I'm going with people. So I know 100% those are in. The other ones are just kind of wait and see. And then if anyone has extra Buccaneer seats, I might need to buy 2 extra Buccaneer seats. So if anyone is not going to the Bucs game, or if you have season tickets that you're selling and going to the Buccaneers game, hit me up on Twitter and let me know if you've got them, because I've got friends of mine that were thinking about going to the game with us, and I need to get 2 extra seats. So if you have them, let me know. And then other than that, man, I just enjoy yourself. It's been a lot of fun. We got a live show on Monday. Everyone, root for the Knicks. Poor Jimmy. I don't want Jimmy to come on this show on Monday and he's upset. He's the Knicks lost, but so root for Jimmy. We want a happy Jimmy on Monday, but we're going to be live on Monday. We are going to be live on Thursday. It's going to be one of these off seasons. It's summertime, right? So we got to enjoy the weather. We got to enjoy all this kind of stuff. So stay tuned. If we may skip a couple weeks here and there because of vacation, we may pop in on different days. That's why it's so important. If you're watching on Instagram, you're watching on X, you're watching on Twitter, whatever they want to call it, Facebook, come over to YouTube, hit that like, hit the alert bell, and of course, subscribe. That way you guys can be part of anything that goes on with the Cowboys Cave. You will be notified. So, so as a Celtics fan, you much rather play the Knicks. All right. So you're pulling. There we go. At least we got some people pulling for the Knicks. I like that. I went to see our Cowboys against the Eagles at Philly. Yeah, I'm not going there. I am not going there. I have zero. Interest in going to Philly for a game. Now we talked about it. Mark Holmes kind of talked about it, and I know Brian talked about it, and Kelly talked about it. And if we went in like a pack, like if we went in rolling 30, 40 deep, you know what I mean? We're rolling 30, 40 deep, and we're taking over a section. I probably would go. I mean, I'd probably go, but I'm not going to sit and subject myself because I like trash talk. I'll tell you this: Atlanta, my favorite stadium for a road game. A lot of trash talking, a lot of fun, but it's all in good fun. There's no, I'm not fighting you over it. I'm not throwing shit at you. I'm not doing it. It's just good nature. It's part of sports, man. If you dish it out, you got to be able to take it. And that's where I say is I never start any arguments. But if you're going to get at me, then I gotta respond. You got to give me the opportunity to respond. So it's just like my man, Ultra is. He called me a clown. He calls me names, and then when I call him names, he gets upset. And it can't go one way. It's got to go both ways. You're gonna talk shit to me about stuff that's not true, then I got to be able to give it back. But if we're at a game and you want to say Dak Prescott this or that or your Cowboys stink, I'm all good. Man, we'll just talk back and forth. I go to Florida State Miami games. Never got in a fight. We almost got in a fight with Miami fans because we have Florida State fans that go with us. And they started getting in their face and like being, fingers in their face and this and that. And it's like, hey, dude, you're a Canes fan, but, we'll F you up here. So I don't care what side you're on. You always got to be respectful. You always got to be respectful. And I'm that way as a fan. That's why people expect me to be some wild maniac at a game. I get hyped. I get intense. I love it, but it's I never cross the line. At that level, it's just not worth it, man. So yeah, I am. Yeah, I'm not doing it. So yeah. So anyway, yeah, and we'll let you know as it gets closer on week 9. Once we get a group together, we said maybe we'll try and get tickets in the same section. I know that I think StubHub or one of them does it where we can get a group of seats and you can even hold them, and then you can kind of go in, and that way if people are paying on their credit card or anything like that, you can get into the sections that you need. So we'll figure it out because we'd love to have, the people hanging with us at the ATL game. It'd be cool to be in the same section. I know it's hard, and some people's budgets are different. I'll be honest with you. I could sit anywhere. I don't need to sit. Like Cowboy games, that was a treat for me that I wanted to do, but I'll sit in the upper level. I went to a Falcon game and I sat in the last row in the upper level. I don't prefer to do that, but if that's all I can get where I could sit with a group, I'm much happier to do that. So anyway, you guys enjoy your day. It's a beautiful Sunday. Hopefully the weather's good where you guys are at. I got a little party I get to go to, have a good time, little graduation party. A shout out to Richie on graduating. It's a good thing. And it's crazy. I'm just telling you guys, if you've got young kids, you guys need to just enjoy the days. It goes by fast. I look at it. My son's going to be 20 years old. He was just a little shit running around. And now he's a man. And then my daughter's going to be a senior next year. And I think you guys, remember her she was my sidekick when she was younger, doing some of the hype videos and make cameo appearances and things like that. So EJ, I know with you got a young one. I think maybe, I don't know if you have another one on the way or if you do, but I know you got one. Because your wife was pregnant at the last tailgate. So I know you got one, but enjoy it. It goes by a lot. It goes by lightning fast. The years in middle school to high school go by. As soon as they're in middle school, you might as well forget it. It's over. So 2 girls. So enjoy it. I feel for you with 2 girls. I got one, and it's a handful. But she's great. But all the side stuff with girls, your time's going to come when they get to high school. The young days are the best days. So. But yeah, so definitely enjoy it. I appreciate it. And, thank you guys so much, for everything. Yeah. We're all Cowboy fans. If you're living in the Tag house, if you ain't a Cowboys fan, you might as well forget it. My wife was a Washington Redskins fan when we met, and you guys have seen her in pictures, and she's a Cowboy fan. We weren't getting married if she wasn't. So that's the way it rolls. Now, when you move out of the house, if you want to be a fan of some other team, I feel for my son. Now you're going to get me talking for another hour. I feel for my son, and I feel for the kids that are in that age bracket of, let's say, 25 and under, 30 and under, whatever it is. You have no experience but Dallas Cowboy failure, and it sucks. It does. And see the Super Bowl and sniff the Super Bowl. I'm thankful I've seen 3 that I remember, enjoy. I was old enough. I was just getting out of high school. So I enjoyed all of those. So that is a thing that you just, I'm thankful for. But I feel like if my son tomorrow said, "Hey, Dad, I'm moving out. No, by the way, I'm giving up the jersey." I was like, I feel for you. You ain't going to no more games with me, but I respect it. So anyway, what's up, Michael? Appreciate you hopping in. You might be hopping in. I'm going to be hopping out. I feel bad, but 20. It's crazy. As soon as they graduate high school, then those years go even faster. It's like my niece and nephew are 20. They're going to be 24, and it's like, I hate it. I hate it. So yeah, definitely. I mean, Doug knows he's got some great kids too. It goes by super, super fast. So anyway, I enjoy my Sunday mornings with you guys. If you missed any of this, go check the replay. If you hadn't subscribed yet, go subscribe. If you're watching one last time on Instagram, on X, any of that, go ahead and hit that. Head over to YouTube, hit that subscribe, like, share. Definitely love hanging with all you guys. Have a great Sunday. Enjoy yourself. Have a great time. Let's see. Hopefully the weather holds out so I can maybe get in the pool or do something like that. Peace out. Thank you so much. See ya.
Give me somebody that's hungry. Give me somebody.